Iran versus Israel, what is happening? Iran and Israel have been embroiled in a protracted proxy war and direct military clashes as their tensions have sharply increased. The persistent conflict is marked by counterattacks, unrest in the surrounding area, and noteworthy consequences for global affairs. In this video, we will go into detailed overview of what is happening between Iran versus Israel. Number 7. Direct military engagement. With an unparalleled degree of direct confrontation that has the potential to completely change regional dynamics, the current military engagement between Israel and Iran represents a turning point in their tense relationship. Iran carried out a well-thought-out operation on October 10, 2023, using more than 300 drones and missiles to target numerous key locations located all over Israeli territory. Not only was this attack a display of might, Iranian officials presented it as a necessary counterattack after a few days earlier, an Israeli airstrike in Syria had killed many high-ranking members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC). Being in charge of extraterritorial operations and providing support to terrorist groups that are affiliated with Iran around the region, the IRGC is essential to Iran's military strategy. The choice to initiate such a massive attack signifies a dramatic change in Iran's military strategy. From covert operations via proxies to overt conflicts with Israel, policymakers and regional analysts are concerned that this escalation could lead to a larger confrontation involving several countries, which would drastically change the Middle East's security environment. The ramifications are significant. If this pattern of direct military action persists, it may set off an uncontrollable cycle of retaliation that attracts international forces and further destabilizes the area. Number 6. Israeli response. Israel launched a series of airstrikes against important military targets inside Iran in response to the Iranian missile bombardment, which was one of its most forceful military reactions in recent memory. These attacks were not just retaliatory, they were planned deliberately to destroy Iran's military capabilities, especially those associated with the development of drones and missiles, which directly endanger Israeli security. Israeli missiles were acknowledged to have been used in these operations by U.S. officials, underscoring the close coordination between Israeli and American armed forces, an alliance based on common strategic goals, notably with regard to containing Iranian influence in the region. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, stressed the need for the country to defend itself against aggression and presented these strikes as crucial to averting further assaults and maintaining national security. Preemption, or acting first to eliminate perceived threats, has long been a pillar of Israeli military strategy. This circle of revenge violence, however, begs important considerations about escalation. Each side's military operations run the risk of inciting other reactions, creating a hazardous cycle of bloodshed that may eventually engulf not only Israel and Iran, but possibly other regional actors as well. The world community keeps a careful eye on things, knowing that errors in judgment on any side could have disastrous results. Number 5. Historical context. The historical background of ties between Iran and Israel is characterized by a deep-seated hostility that has its roots in long-standing ideological, political, and geographical issues. Iran changed its political landscape after the Islamic Revolution of 1979. Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi led a pro-Western monarchy, but Ayatollah Khomeini, who positioned himself as a staunch opponent of Israel, led the Islamic Republic. The new government embraced an ideology that saw Israel as an illegal entity that endangered regional stability and Islamic unity. Iran's support of Palestinian organizations that openly threaten Israeli security and sovereignty, such as Hamas and Hezbollah, served to reinforce this ideological resistance. Furthermore, Israel views Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons as an existential threat that could spur additional aggression against it and its allies in the area, which has increased Israeli concerns about Iran's ability to survive. This hostility has taken many forms over the years, ranging from military conflicts to diplomatic isolation, resulting in a complicated web of antagonism that is still developing today. Mutual mistrust has been cultivated by the historical context. Each party sees the other through a prism tinted by old grudges and existential anxieties, making diplomatic solutions more and more hard. Number 4. Proxy warfare. Instead of involving direct military combat, the struggle between Iran and Israel has primarily developed through proxy warfare, which has allowed both countries to maintain power without resorting to full-scale battle. Iran has intentionally developed ties to a number of violent organizations in the Middle East, such as Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon. These organizations function as extensions of Iranian power and are frequently armed with cutting-edge weapons provided by Tehran. For example, Hezbollah has accumulated a sizable arsenal that allows it to launch precision-guided missiles deep into Israeli territory, and Hamas has used Iranian technology to improve its missile capabilities during conflicts in Gaza. With this arrangement, Iran can criticize Israel in a roundabout way while continuing to be able to deny any involvement in assaults on Israeli targets. On the other hand, Israel has continuously used airstrikes against Iranian assets and proxies in Syria with the intention of cutting off supply routes and stopping the flow of weapons that would increase their ability to operate against Israel. The continuous cycle of proxy warfare makes the situation of regional security more complex. Both parties aim to weaken the other's position without engaging in direct conflict that would cause massive casualties or attract the attention of other regional powers. By using proxies, both countries can fight each other without fully accepting ownership for their deeds, resulting in a muddy battlefield where it is challenging to determine who is responsible for what. Number 3. Escalating tensions post-Gaza war. The events that followed Hamas' unexpected strike on October 7, 2023, which rekindled conflict in Gaza after years of relative calm, are closely related to the current escalation of hostilities. This surprise attack caused heavy losses on both sides and sparked Israel's fierce military counterattack to destroy Hamas' ability to operate within Gaza. Since many wars are interrelated, decisions made by one party may have an instantaneous impact on others. For example, Israel may launch retaliation strikes against Lebanese targets or Iranian interests in Syria in response to Hezbollah's support for Hamas. Moreover, broader geopolitical factors also impact regional dynamics. Egypt and Jordan, for example, are keeping a careful eye on developments because of their own security worries about the potential spillover consequences of increased violence in Gaza or Lebanon. The likelihood of errors increasing with the involvement of regional actors, whether in the form of military assistance or diplomatic maneuvering, creates a risky scenario in which any mistake could spark larger-scale hostilities involving several countries. Public opinion in these nations can also have an impact on government policy. Governments may feel under pressure to take military or political action in response to popular opinion about Iranian aggression or Palestinian difficulties. Number 2. Potential for wider conflict. Given that there are no obvious paths to de-escalation or resolution, and that both Israel and Iran are taking retaliatory measures against one another, the likelihood of a wider regional confrontation is still extremely high. Experts caution that any major military intervention may spark overwhelming reactions from both sides or attract other regional actors like Saudi Arabia or Turkey, who might have a stake in countering Iranian influence or assisting Palestinian groups like Islamic Jihad or Hamas. Iran's leadership may feel pressured from within to take strong action against what it perceives to be Israeli aggression while maintaining good relations with regional allies like Hezbollah and Shiite militias who fight in Iraq and Syria. The intricate geopolitical environment increases the likelihood of miscalculation. Any escalation may quickly get out of hand and cause widespread instability throughout the Middle East, which would have profound effects on the dynamics of global security. Additionally, outside forces like China or Russia might try to take advantage of these tensions for their own geopolitical objectives, which would make efforts to resolve the issue even more difficult. Number 1. International implications. There are important ramifications for global markets, international relations generally, and the stability of the area from the prolonged conflict between Israel and Iran. The escalating tensions between Saudi Arabia and Iraq, two major actors in Middle Eastern geopolitics, have raised fears about possible supply interruptions resulting from military actions or larger wars involving major oil-producing countries. This has been reflected in oil prices. In order to prevent hostilities from escalating further, the United States continues to show its strong support for Israel while urging restraint on both sides. This dual approach reflects Washington's strategic interests in preserving stability while opposing Iranian influence throughout the region through diplomatic efforts and sanctions meant to isolate Tehran internationally. The potential impact of developments on international security dynamics has drawn the attention of major powers, who may realign geopolitical landscapes beyond the conflict's immediate theater. Any major conflict could cause major world powers to reshape their alliances in Middle Eastern affairs. Moreover, increasing violence gives rise to humanitarian concerns. Civilian populations suffer the most from conflicts due to displacement and casualties, which is why international organizations urge for ceasefires and talks aimed at bringing about enduring peace. This thorough summary emphasizes the intricacy and seriousness of the situation between Iran and Israel, highlighting the forces that have shaped their interactions historically as well as currently. Thanks for watching our video, and don't forget to subscribe.